We have spent a lot of time talking Arsenal this season, so we're going to talk Burnley. And the reason is they're bottom of the league. Yes, they've got games in hand. Robbie, I'll come to you first. But there are so many reasons why Burnley are struggling this season. I want to throw a few at you. 10 of their senior players are into the last 6 months of their contract. A further 6 have only 18 months left. They sold Chris Wood. Yes, Newcastle met the release clause, but Chris Wood has gone out the door. Chris Wood is responsible for nearly a third of the goals at the club in the Premier League over the last 4.5 years. Max Cornet, who is a brilliant player, is at the African Nations Cup. That is just a flavour of what is going wrong at Burnley right now. It's unsurprising. They're bottom of the league, Rob.
Yeah, they're bottom of the league. I think the morale at the football club is as low as it's ever been. I think, given those numbers, and the numbers I've got here, roughly $13 million net spent over a 5-year period, by the way. I mean, that's hardly anything. You're seeing this squad get older year on year. I mean, to be fair, a good squad was assembled here under a good manager, Sean Dyche, years ago, and they've kept doing it, they've kept doing it, they've kept grinding. But, of course, last season, they almost got relegated, and now we all know how old it's the oldest team in the league. And the Chris Wood thing makes it into an emergency situation now. And important things that should have been done. And to be fair, I think we were talking about it earlier, that Sean Dyche mentioned seasons ago that this squad is getting older, and yet the club didn't do anything. ALK Capital, the new ownership with Alan Pace on board, is now the club needs him. The club needs him and their investment company to spend some money, because it's an emergency situation. Chris Wood was unexpected. He's gone. They've got 9 days left in the transfer window to bring in another striker. If not, it looks like they're going to go down.
Money has been spent at Turf Moor in hospitality suites and in various other ways. But if you're not spending money, as Robbie said, on players on the field, and they've hardly spent anything, 13 million net over 5 years, how can they expect to stay up?
Well, because of Sean Dyche. And I think this is a tale as old as time. He's a victim of his own success, right? And Robbie Earl always says, in Dyche we trust, because they've decided we can stay in the Premier League, get the Premier League money, and we don't actually have to spend it. Why? Because we have a brilliant manager who will find a way to keep us up. And that works until it doesn't. And they've always just kind of gotten across the line, started to pick up steam. This year they look like they're in trouble, right down at the bottom. I know they have a few games in hand, but I just wonder, in terms of replacing Chris Wood, they weren't expecting that release clause to be met. So it's not as if this was a plan. I hope there was a plan in place. It doesn't seem like there was a plan in place to say, OK, if he goes out the door, we'll bring another striker. And time's ticking, because they don't bring a striker, they can't stay up.
And the problem, Tim, as well, is they have a ceiling at the club, according to reports, of £50,000 a week in terms of wages. Good luck bringing in a striker who's going to take a £50,000 a week salary.
It's so difficult to score goals in the Premier League. Robbie, you've mentioned that before, and it's just like every striker going to that club knows how difficult it's going to be. So, yeah, to get one in under £50,000 a week, it's interesting.
Do you know what's another interesting part of all this as well is the style of play?
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of similarities with Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson, grinding, ageing squad. And they redid everything this summer, and so far it's really gone very, very well. Burnley are probably the last team that are old school, 4-4-2, long balls in the channel, crosses in the box, keeping it very, very simple, and it's worked OK. But there's other ways of doing it that's become more prominent. You look at Graham Potter at Brighton. Teams can be expansive. You can play and you can stay in the division. That was always very scared to do that. And Burnley, you know, maybe the last of that type of stodgy 4-4-2 kind of standard football that maybe get a little outdated.
Yeah, I just think I credit Sean Dyche, because I think there have been managers who have asked for investment, didn't get it, and have walked, and he's stuck by the plan.
Yeah, he certainly has for now. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.